from my oil pan.
How many are there supposed to be?
A lot. I don't know. I mean,
like
this
15?
Was,
it's like a bunch of little ones?
it's like a lot. I mean,
Okay.
there was like 4 or 5 gone from one side.
But a significant number of, like, well, by the way, oh no, here, look, here on the receipt. Remove and reseal oil pan. Here's the parts. Bolt, quantity 20. So that's how many there's supposed to be.
There's 20.
So you were down a third of your bolts. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Banks Power, who have the all-new pedal monster to show off. This thing is really cool. It's got kind of a funny name, the pedal monster, but it actually describes pretty accurately what it does. You know, when you take your car in to get an aftermarket ECU tune, in some cases they really are adding power, but in a lot of ways what they're doing is reprogramming your pedal, just the pedal response itself, to deliver power in a different way. And the pedal monster allows you to decide how you want your pedal to deliver power. It can instantly improve throttle response in hundreds of cars and trucks. It's the only OBD connected throttle controller. Other throttle controllers go through the pedal itself, which can cause all kinds of problems with voltage drop, etc. And it's got an app you can connect to the pedal monster, and you can choose your basic, city, sport, and track modes. And then there's 10 unique pedal maps within those for 30 total sensitivity levels. You can change it in real time. You can't change it like while you have to take your foot off the pedal to change it, but you can change it like while you're driving very easily. You can't change it in the middle of a pull, let's just say. And just so you know, when you put your car in reverse, you don't want the pedal to be super sensitive like if it was on a racetrack, right? So they have a patented system called reverse safety, which returns the pedal effort and the pedal response to stock when you go to reverse. So you don't have any accidental issues there, right? And they have an adjustable speed trim feature, which allows you to remove the added pedal sensitivity below 10 miles an hour so your car doesn't get super jerky and jumpy, right? If you've got a trailer or you're a sports car, you don't want it to be super jerky in traffic or off idle, right? Which is also great for manual transmission cars. It's really, really cool. The active safety mode can return the module to stock in the event of an internal-external malfunction. The app works on iPhone and Android, and all you have to do to see if the pedal monster works for you, again, hundreds of cars and trucks, is go to bankspower.com. That's bankspower.com and enter the year, make, and model of your vehicle. Get one for yourself. These guys have been doing this for a long time. We love Gail Banks. Great engineer, great team, and the pedal monster is their latest innovation. It's very, very cool. So go to bankspower.com, enter your year, make, and model, and see if it works for you. Also brought to you today by HelloFresh. Love HelloFresh. You know why? Love cooking, hate shopping. Love eating, hate deciding what to eat, right? So with HelloFresh, you can save money, you can save time, you can eat healthy, and it takes the worst parts of preparing food off the menu, right? All you got to do is go to HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire65, right? You choose the menu that you want for this week, right? There's 30 plus wet recipes every week. You can do vegetarian, you can do the chef specials, you can do quick and easy. It's so many different options. You can even customize your meals by swapping proteins or sides, upgrading to choice proteins, or adding proteins to a vegetarian dish. There's so many options. And then HelloFresh sends you fresh ingredients, spices, and sauces to your door along with, they're all pre-portioned along with the recipes to make them quickly. And then you put them in the fridge one at a time. Boom, you got dinner. You get home from work, no shopping, right? You just pull it out of the fridge and there's everything you need to make dinner. You can do it in about 30 minutes, 40 minutes like tops, but it's way, way easier and less time than going to the store, figuring out what to make. I like it because I don't have to either think about making something new and figure it out on the fly, or default to my standard 5 or 6 things that I make regularly. It keeps me making new stuff. HelloFresh is now offering vegan recipes on the menu every week without animal products of any kind. And changing seasons mean changing tastes. And with those 30+ recipes to choose from, you can get something new every week. I love it. Saves time, saves money, saves food waste, and I'm trying new flavors at home. So, HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire65 and use code SmokingTire65 for 65% off plus free shipping. You got that? You got to use the URL and the code. HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire65, code SmokingTire65, 65% off plus free shipping. It's America's #1 meal kit, and don't you forget it. Last but not least, Rex MD, baby. Guys hate going to the doctor. You got to plan it well ahead, takes half a day, and there's also certain topics you don't want to talk to your regular doctor about. And here's what I'm talking about: boner pills, baby. Most men's health issues have really simple solutions, and Rex MD is all about that. They make getting generic and branded Viagra and Cialis easy. Everything's online, even the prescription, delivered right to your door. No office visits, no receptionist. It's super simple. Just fill out a quick medical questionnaire on their website. A doctor will review it and prescribe you generic Viagra if appropriate. Your medication gets shipped right to your door with free 2-day shipping. It's fast, simple, and cheap, and you can access your U.S. licensed Rex MD physician anytime you need afterwards. Rex MD has helped over 300,000 guys get generic Viagra quickly and convenient, and Rex MD just works, and it works the very first night. Starter packs of generic Viagra or Cialis are available for our viewers, but you've got to go to rexmd.com/tire to get started. That's rexmd.com/tire. Go to rexmd.com/tire today to get started with a starter pack prescription of generic Viagra or Cialis, and all orders come with free 2-day shipping. Rex MD, the authority in men's health. All right, folks, on today's episode of the podcast, Zach and I are back in studio for the first time in 2 weeks. Zach has a massive BMW bill that we are going to discuss how his car ended up in such a sad state of affairs. I have driven the Corvette Z06, the big story of the day, and give you my review as well as some tidbits on some of the other cars from the Road and Track Performance Car of the Year. We talk about my visit to see my Porsche Boxster Spyder at DeMann Motorsport for the very first time, and we answer your questions, which strangely focus a lot on road tripping. It's a cruise show on the Smoking Tire Podcast. Happy Z06 Day, everybody. Happy Z06 Day, Z06. When I posted pictures of the Z06, I got texts from many journalists, the elites of the British motoring press. "How is it, mate?" Jethro said. Honk, honk. And I'll tell you how it is in a little bit. We'll get to that. We need to make sure you guys stick around because a bunch of people went to Pittsburgh to drive the Z06 on the launch for 1 day. They were flown in, got a few laps around the track, got a little bit of road time, and then get the fuck out because we got to get more people through this bitch. But because Road and Track is an elite Hearst media publication, and I am an elite member of the salaried staff. PCOTY was going on last week. That's the performance car of the year, and the Z06 was part of that test. So we got one for 2 days at Monticello, and then 2 more days of road driving. We got a lot of, every member of the R&T staff now has significant Z06 seat time. I probably have 25 laps around Monticello plus 2 hours of road time. Travis has even more than me. Travis has quite a lot. And he was the one setting the official times for the, for the PCOTY test. The test numbers. We have the consistency of Travis setting all the times, but because you see, I have a secret. I am a man who owns GoPros, and because I'm a man who owns GoPros, I normally day one of the racetrack is only for Travis to set the lap times, and then day two is open lapping for the rest of the staff.
For everybody to get their notes.
For everybody to get their notes. They put a notebook in each car. You go out, you do a 4-lap session, you write notes, and you get through all the cars. But because I own GoPros, Monday was for Travis and me. Once Travis set a lap time, then I got to have a go. So I got twice as much track time in every car as everybody.
Nice.
Which is great.
You can't drive every car at the same time.
Right.
Right.
But after Travis would set a lap time, I'd get right in it, and I'd have the whole rest of the time to do whatever. So on the Monday of PCOTY, I did 10 one-takes. It was the most I've ever done in one day, but I literally had all the cars sitting right there and an entire racetrack to myself.
How long did you spend prepping your notebook for those things?
2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 days. Fortunately, a lot of the cars I'd already driven, so I had the notes already. Like there was only three of the 10 that I had never even seen before, which made it way easier. Yeah. Z06 was one of them, and I will tell you my thoughts on the Z06 as well as my thoughts on a few of the other cars in the PCOTY test after we talk about this bill that was just emailed to me from Bavarian Workshop, where Zack's M3 has been for a week. $3,518, Zack?
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with your car?
So many things.
What happened?
Shout out to Bavarian Workshop. So Bavarian Workshop is owned by Mark Norris, who built a 600 horsepower M2 we reviewed, a couple of years ago. But he does really—
He's a good dude.
Really good dude, does really high quality work. He built Tom Segura's M2, I think. They do old school restoration and new stuff. So I go there because I trust them, and there's a reason which we're going to get to in a second. So my car had been having this diff clunk for a year.
I recall the diff clunk.
Right, and so there's 3 big bolts that hold the diff on for the M3. There's 2 in the back, which everyone replaces when they get their car, even when they were new, because the bolts were too short and known for backing out. So those were new on mine. And then there's a front bolt.
New when you got the car.
When I got the car, they had already been replaced. Correct.
Yeah.
And then so those run longitudinally on the car, and there's one in the front that runs perpendicular to the drive shaft.
Okay, so across the rear axle.
Across the rear axle, essentially, and it's really long. I think it's 5 inches or something. And my diff started clunking last year after a drift session, and I read a bunch of people in the forums were like, "It's the M clunk, man. They do that. They do that." I
love when people, you know who you love to tell they do that to? Donnie. His fucking eyeballs will fly out of his head. They don't fucking do that.
They don't do that.
That's a shitbox car. That's not supposed to do that.
They're not supposed to do that. From the factory, they didn't do that. Yeah. But I mean, out of 20 responses on the Facebook group I'm on, 19 said they do that.
Yeah.
One guy goes, "It's the front diff bolt. It's hard to get to. Tighten it down." And I did, and it fixed it. But about a month later, it started again.
Did you use some thread locker?
At the time, I did not. I just tightened it.
Are you supposed to? I just thread locker.
You are. So at the time, that person just said to tighten it.
I'm the person who put thread locker in fucking the wrong thing, and it would be a problem.
It can be. If you use the wrong thread locker, it can also be a problem. So I knew what to do, but I had re-injured my back, of course, so getting under a car was tabled for a while. So I drove it very carefully. Then I put it on jack stands here, and I put thread locker on it, and I tightened it down. And when I went to tighten it, it suddenly started to free spin. And
that's not
this
good.
bolt needs 120 pound-feet of torque on the torque wrench. It's really a high number. And I was at 40.
And it was spinning?
And it was spinning.
No.
And so I tell Mark, and he's like, "Did you put Loctite on it?" I said, "Yeah, I used the blue stuff, which is the semi-permanent, but not permanent." And I knew that the surgery required is called a time cert, which is like a helicoil but different. Basically, they need to put new threads in the metal.
Yeah.
Because the differential on the M3 is soft aluminum, because of course it is, because the E46 is more fragile than an actress, like, or an actor. I mean, it is such. Talking to Eric, who's shopping
Elon
for
Musk's
one, like,
ego is robust compared to the metal.
Absolutely.
In the
Like, I was talking to Eric, who's shopping for one. He was like, "Is it?" He's like, "Is this a known problem?" Like, I knew about the rod bearings and this other thing. I was like, "Dude, the whole car is a known problem." And so
it's too bad because it drives fucking great.
Isn't that the problem? It is a relationship that I should get out of, but I don't want to.
Shame.
It is such a shame.
Oh,
and
that bipolar chick fucks so good. And then,
I was listening to Chris DiStefano talk about his literal baby's mama. Like, he had a one-night stand. She got pregnant. They decided to keep the kid, and now they have a good relationship, but they're not together. He's a comedian. And he's
very funny.
He said, he's like, yeah, you know, when you meet her, she's Puerto Rican, and she has a tattoo on her tit. He's like, my friend told me to not get her pregnant. He's like, that's what she says from her visit, or like everything about her. You're like, don't come in this chick, and then he did. That's
funny.
And so the surgery for this requires the diff to be removed, which I don't have the space or the physical ability to do. Like, I've been injured for like 3 years. I can't lift a differential.
Who wants to do that? That sounds terrible.
If I had a second car and shop space, I'd be like, I would like to learn to do this. And Sam Smith, our friend, he's like, it's not rocket science. It's just effort. But
it's
like,
just shitty.
I can't lift a differential.
And even if you got the diff out, or you're going to re-tap the fucking holes, like, then what?
Well, then you
have to put the fucking diff in the back of your other car and bring it to Mark to have that done anyway before you reinstall it.
Sam said I was capable of retapping the holes.
Do you remember what diff fluid smelled like?
Terrible.
Literally the worst smell I've ever smelled.
Yeah.
Like, worse than like dead animal, worse than like the worst fart you could imagine. Literally the worst smell. Like, only maybe rotting seafood could be worse.
You transported a diff for your Mustang in the old TST.
In the minivan.
Yeah. And it ate through the carpet like the acid from Aliens into the metal.
But so little of it.
Yes.
Like a couple tablespoons of it got into the carpet, and it was so bad that I had to have the entire interior from the van removed, the carpet replaced, and the metal underneath the carpet like power scrubbed.
Yeah, because getting rid of the carpet alone didn't get rid of the smell.
Yeah.
That was what I mean. It like ate into the metal.
Yeah, so you don't want to touch a fucking diff if you can avoid it. It's the worst possible smell on earth.
So
anyway.
So I had scheduled to bring that in. I was like, I need this done. And he told me what it's going to cost. And I'm like, I mean, the differential needs to stay on the car.
Yeah, like, what choice do you have?
Yeah, exactly. And then a week before I was going to bring it in, one of your guys noticed an oil stain on the ground from my car. My car hasn't leaked oil ever. And so I bring it in
Under the front or under the back?
Under the front. So it's coming from the engine. Good place for it to come from.
It's where oil lives.
It's where it lives, and it's not traveling too far. But I thought maybe the valve cover gasket was leaking. They had done that, and I don't want to besmirch their work. But I was like, maybe, hopefully, because then it'd be free. No. They, actually, I don't have the picture. It's on my phone. So they send me a photo 2 days after it arrives, and they're like, dude, what is happening with your oil pan? I'm like, what do you mean? And I look, and there are 6 bolts missing from my oil pan.
How many are there supposed to be?
A lot. I don't know. I mean,
this 15? It's like a bunch of little ones?
It's like a lot. I mean, there was like 4 or 5 gone from one side.
But a significant number of, well, by the way, oh no, here, look, here on the receipt. Remove and reseal oil pan. Here's the parts. Bolt, quantity 20. So that's how many there's supposed to be.
There's 20.
So you were down a third of your bolts.
Almost, yeah.
And
they had discovered that the leak was coming from a bad oil gasket, but that was because bolts were missing. And they were like, there's no way these all back themselves out. And so
what do you think, you hit a rock or something?
No. I think a shop I used to take my car to that I stopped taking my car to, which I will not name because I can't prove this was their fault because it was years ago. But every time I went there, which was 3 times, something was left off the car that I caught.
I remember this, yeah.
And one time it was like a fan shroud. I caught it the day I picked it up, and they went, "Oh, our bad," and they put it on. The next time I did it, they did front suspension work, and the week I drove around after that, there was like a buzz. So I took it to a different place, like a local Venice place, and they were like, "We just found 2 bolts that are supposed to be on your aluminum subframe connector on top of it." and they go in from the bottom.
Yeah.
And so that's when I stopped going to this particular place. So my thought is that, when I first got the car...
Did this shop have your oil pan off at some point?
The only time it's been off when it's been under my care was after I over-torqued the drain plug, and I sent it to them because you have to take it out, put new threads in, clean the metal out.
So you know that it was taken off at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is my suspicion. And it's amazing it didn't have a problem earlier. You know? Because you can't... And you can't see these bolts when you're under the car changing the oil. It's like way up by the intake side. So like no one who changed the oil would have seen it.
Well, let's see. $1,350 for the removal and resealing of the diff.
Yeah, you know why? You have to take off the entire front subframe. Oh, sorry. The oil pan, you have to take off the entire front subframe.
No, removing and resealing the oil pan was almost $1,600.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I looked up how to do it.
It was,
and
by the way, it was only $268 in parts and $1,200 in labor.
Yes, it is.
And it's not like, I mean, Bavarian Workshop is like a fair shop. Like they're not cheap, but they're not a ripoff.
Correct.
Yeah, like this is what good work costs.
They are high quality work.
Yeah,
they're more expensive than some places, but they are not. But like fucking me, and they were nice, and they gave me a little bit of a discount. But I looked up how to do that. And it is complicated. Like, all the support for the engine from the underside comes out.
I'm sure this is just a weird thing for this billing, but this says hand car wash, $383.
No, I don't.
That's not right, is it?
Because I think
that's just a weird.
No. They gave me a discount of $383. That's just
that's
on
a
that
discount.
Line item.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's minus. Yeah, minus 383. Okay, yeah. Wow. I was like, wow, fair price, but they charged it $380 for a wash.
No, okay. I've been there enough, and Mark's just like, you know what? You've had a tough time.
Oh,
he's
man.
like, this one's on me. He's the casino owner, and he sends me free drinks.
The diff bolt thing, that's just a thing that can happen.
Yeah.
But you made it worse by drifting this car.
Yeah,
like you've given this car a tough, for a daily driver. This car's had a tough 50,000 miles.
I think I'm going to stop drifting it. It is hard on it. And the test for your diff, like to see what's moving, is you put an iPhone under the car, put the e-brake on, and then slowly let the clutch out. Just hit the friction point, which puts stress on the diff, and you could see the diff rock. So like other people did that, and they're like, that's how I know this is wrong with my diff. And I tried it, and I could see the diff move like half an inch.
Yeah, that sounds. So half an inch in diff is a lot.
It's supposed to be 0, but that's how much torque is being put on any differential.
Well, all the torque,
right?
It's all the engine's torque,
and it's not just twist.
Yeah.
Longitudinally, it's like forward, backwards.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so hard on cars.
Yeah, that's does somebody make like a better diff housing that in the aftermarket that
I don't know
doesn't have this problem?
I'm sure there's. Well, you can.
Is there like a motorsport diff?
You can increase the stiffness of your differential bushings. Mine are like Polyflex Street Track. You can go up in durometer, and then newer cars, all the subframes are solid mounted.
Yeah,
and so everything's just more locked on.
Right.
So the stress point moves different places. I'm sure there's a motorsport solution, but I'm not doing that.
You use a street car.
Yeah.
But that is that's an expensive week. I mean, for what amounts, to bolts that don't go in right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. This is $3,000 for bolts that aren't in right.
Yeah, fundamentally.
People think my Ferrari was expensive, but like, it ain't $3,000 for fucking bolts.
So, well, some of your bolts were expensive to buy the bolts, but putting them in was not as expensive as this.
Oh, yeah, this is really expensive.
Yeah, when I looked up the directions for the oil pan, they were like, well, you're going to have to support the engine from the top.
Yeah.
Because all the engine goes, I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
And they're like, they put a bar across your cross member.
Way.
So the engine doesn't
up, fall out
so the engine
on
doesn't
you?
fall on their face.
Get the fuck.
Because you have to take all the subframes.
You're not doing that shit.
No, once I saw that, I was like,
no, that's terrible. Yeah, no, absolutely not. Okay, so that's rough.
So I've probably doubled the price of my car in maintenance.
I mean, I can't tell you how many people send me links to $25,000 or $30,000 M3s and go, should I buy this? And I go, look, here's what you might be getting into.
Yeah.
This stuff is really, really expensive to fix. And if you're talking about a cheap example with high miles, like you don't know, like could be fine, could be fucked,
Yes.
like no idea, like, you know, or you can spend a ton of money on one that's great now, and then you can treat it like a collectible. You know, not treat it like a daily or a project car or a fucking track day car.
Yeah.
Treat it like a collectible, and then you get your money back.
Right.
You know, at the end of the day, provided you don't break anything. But like, damn, that's a big fucking bill for what amounts to bolts.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I heard that and I was like, great.
Yeah.
You know,
that sucks. Well, speaking of project cars. And things that cost money, our BMW 135i giveaway car is going very well. We've got a big pile of high-quality aftermarket parts sitting out there in the hallway, ready to go on the car. We're giving away this car in partnership with GetEnteredToWin.com. And if you haven't heard us say this pitch, I'm not going to make this segment of the show too pitchy. I hope you figured it out. You can see photos of the car on Instagram. If you click the link in bio on our Instagram, there's a thing right up at the top of that to win the car. The idea being best daily drivable canyon car for $30,000. So we spent we spent $19,000 on the car itself. It is a clean, straight, stock BMW 135i manual. Slick top, or is there a sunroof? Sunroof car. But black on black, stock. It's got 95,000 miles, and we have got. And we're gonna make this thing ace. So we've got wheels and tires. HRE Wheels is making a set of their new wheels.
So cool.
No one's seen the wheels yet. It's a brand new model of wheels.
It's an exclusive.
It's an exclusive. And they're forged wheels. They're not flow form wheels. It's a forged wheel, 19-inch wheel for this car. And then West Coast Tire is getting us some tire. I tried to get Pilot Sport 4S's because they're the best tires that you can buy. They're back ordered for this car indefinitely. Whoa. So unfortunately couldn't get those. So we got my second choice. Which I'm blanking on right now because my brain is not functioning fully. But we got they're good tires, no problem. Brand new tires, brand new wheels. This car has the M Sport brakes from the factory, but they're a little tired, as you might have seen in our video, our before video that we did. Go check that out on the YouTube channel. So we're doing new discs, new rotors, new pads, rotors, and fluid. But the OEM hardware is perfectly acceptable for this task. We don't need to do some giant stop tech kit.
We don't need 6-piston whatevers.
These brakes are good. Yeah. When they're new, they're good. So we're making them new. Cobb has given us the 50 state legal Stage 1 Plus access port. We've also got a Cobb charge pipe, also 50 state legal. And we've got a CSF intercooler, also 50 state legal. So that should give us some more power, along with some better cooling capacity for the turbo, which is a durability mod, not just a power mod with that intercooler, while keeping the car legal. Now, this thing is fucking fast. Like, it actually doesn't need any power. Like,
yeah,
it's really fast, just out of the box. We then got... what is the? I'm sorry, I'm blanking. What is the name of the coilovers?
They're STs, which is owned by KW. So ST is like a subsidiary company of KW.
So full set of coilovers. We've got sway bars for the car. We've what the fuck is that?
Sorry, I was looking up the name of the gentleman from Sorted who is sending us the outlet pipe that also helps with the reliability issue, and I wanted to look up his name. You met him. He had the 135.
Is it 50 state legal? I hope so.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we got to keep cars. Got to be legal. So those are the main mods that we're doing. We don't need to go super crazy, and we're also trying to keep it under $30,000. So we're not doing like 50 grand in parts on this thing. And then our partner Avis Autosport. We're taking the car over there tomorrow. They're going to install all the parts. We've also got an Optima battery. We've also got Motul fluids. And so we're going to preemptively do the 100,000-mile service. So you get a fresh major service, fresh motorsport grade Motul fluids, brand new Optima battery. They're going to install all these parts. Then we're going to take the car down to McKenna's body shop in Torrance, where Zack met up with my homie Tim, who is a manager down there, and McKenna is going to go through the front and rear bumpers, touch them up, a little bit of paint work, a little bit of dent removal, make the car super fucking nice. And then we're going to give it a paint correction and a detail so that the winner gets a beautifully put together, nice, clean, ready to drive car. So tomorrow we're dropping it off at Avis Autosport in Glendale, which is a BMW shop that the folks at EAG recommended to me, and where I take my M3. Very nice people, very good at their jobs. And
I want to clarify the name of the body shop where Tim works now is South Bay Certified Collision. It's a South Bay Certified Collision Repair Center that's focused on BMWs.
Right.
So
they are owned by McKenna, which is a
okay.
big dealer group here in LA, and they have Porsche, BMW, Audi. They have a big high-end dealer chain. But thank you, South Bay Collision.
And so
Repair
they're
Center.
going to repaint the front and rear bumpers. The third brake light was like dried and cracking, looked like it had dandruff, and they're going to do a little bit of work on the bumper. The paint on this car was pretty damn good. There were just
it needs a correction, but it's
chips.
not bad.
Yeah. For black paint, not bad.
Yeah, and we're whoever wins the car can get the stock wheels. Also, we don't have any need for them, so you can have them too. But the HREs are going to be kick-ass. So
this engine is so strong.
Yeah, it's great.
The torque kicks in so early, and it's just it feels like it's been tuned up a little bit. I mean, it hasn't
even
been,
as
it
is like
quickly.
stock, it's a very nice driving car, and we don't want to ruin that. We just want to we're not building some track monster that'll suck to drive on the street. Like, it should really be a good street car with good response, not too stiff, not too gnarly, daily drivable, car.
Exactly.
And although, yes, these cars can be expensive to maintain, we're doing everything within reason to make sure that when it goes from us to the winner, that it's good to go.
Yes.
And so you can go to our Instagram and click on the link in bio, and there's a button there. You can go to getenteredtowin.com. It's there. Is there a getenteredtowin.com/TST?
Sorry, it's go.getenteredtowin.com.
I'm sorry about that. Go.getenteredtowin.com/TST, or just go to our Instagram and click the link in bio. There is no purchase necessary, but it is certainly encouraged. You can support the channel. People are always asking us for creative ways to support. This is one. Get my face on a fucking coffee mug, and that's the thing. So I can't wait to go over to Avis tomorrow and shoot our part 2 video, which is the upgrades we're doing. So we'll get some shop footage, we'll get some parts footage, we'll get maybe someone will do something that makes sparks fly. I don't know. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
And
shoot
then
an 80s music
then
video.
We'll get some stuff at South Bay Collision and Repair Center, and see how we're doing. And then we'll have another video where we drive the finished product. They're bringing the tires over here tomorrow. And I'm going to be, I have a speaking gig on Wednesday in San Juan Capistrano. I wonder if the wheels are done. If they are, maybe I can swing by HRE and get them. I don't know if they're done yet. My Porsche wheels are done.
Oh, nice.
I'm very excited.
You picking those up? Are they shipping directly?
I don't know. I might just ship the car to HRE and have them put them on, and then just go down there and get both myself, because I have to bring the stock wheels home.
Oh, yeah. So we could go down in your Mustang.
You could go down to the Mustang.
And then pick up the car. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I went to visit Rick. I saw the car in person.
Did you really?
I saw the car in person
shit.
for the first time.
Congrats.
Yeah. It's fucking nuts.
Photos, right?
The color is so ridiculous. It's go up to the top. It should be there. Those are my actual photos. So the color's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a goof. It's exactly what I wanted. You can't, to have a car with this much power and this much performance painted in a color that's like a makeup color is hilarious.
No one will expect what you have under
the
hood or on it, whatever.
And the interior is pretty fucking strawberry shortcake. It's two-tone red black. So this,
well, it's like you didn't get a custom color, right? This is like the 25th anniversary
they call that the
red.
Spider Classic.
Yeah, it's a really good red.
Yeah.
We've driven a couple cars with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and I think to some people, like I think without seeing the whole package, it can seem a little clashy. And yes, I am colorblind, but
you're red-green colorblind, right?
yeah, I know what red is. Yeah,
okay.
but like,
I just want to let people know.
I think when you step back and you see it, see the whole thing. It's the whole interior is not. It's more black than red. The dash upper is red. The center console surround is red, and the door uppers are red. And then the outer portion of the seats are red, but the inner portion is black. So it's like it's a combination, and the top is black. And then the brake calipers are red. So there's definitely like a red-black frozen berry. It looks like ice cream. I mean, it's a fucking straight-up ice cream combo. And it is ridiculous. Like, it's not a sane combination. It's fucking out there. But, like, I don't give a fuck. I'm ready for
Thank
out
God
there.
it's not silver, is what I'm saying.
And the wheels are, what's it called? I think it's called frozen polished copper. Is the color HRE?
It's HRE color?
Yeah, it's HRE R101 lightweight in frozen polished copper is the color. And I think on the configurator you can see them-ish. But they've got the engine back in the car. They fully put it back in one day. And they're dyno tuning the car now. And there needs to be a 1,000-mile break-in. So where you drive it like pretty gently. And I got to go back to New York to do this Road and Track Hudson Quattro Cento thing, which is like a road rally for Road and Track customers.
Right.
And actually, because it's like a customer event, I have to drive pretty gently. I can't just like go fucking nuts.
Oh, so it'll be like break-in miles with it.
I think it might work out. I think the timing might work. It's like go to the
They have a lot of finishes.
Yeah, go to the middle.
I mean, there's
Let's see like super shiny.
Yeah.
Polished gold.
Polished
go
gold.
down right. 4 over and to, yeah, that frozen polished copper. That's it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's the color of the wheel.
Wow, they have so many finishes.
Yeah, so I think that'll match. I mean, it'll contrast. What it will do is bring out the hint of gold flake that you don't really see in the car when you photograph it indoors.
True.
The car outside in like a sunset has a little hint of gold flake in it.
Yeah.
And the wheels will bring that out.
You can see it a little on this close-up bad shot you got inside. You can see there's flake on the paint, but I agree. Otherwise, it looks pretty flat inside.
Yeah.
But
no, in sunlight in a sunset, you'll have those golds that are brought out.
Flake doesn't really pop indoors unless it's aggressive candy flake
and like
or
the
something.
light in Rick's shop sucks. It's just like shitty sorry, Rick, I love you, but like it's just
shop light.
It's shop light. It's fluorescent, whatever the fuck light.
When you picked the finish for the wheels, did you send the guys at HRE like, here's the spec, and they were like, we think this would look good, or did you just look through it and pick?
I went through it with who's I?
Sarah?
No, with Segura.
Oh, okay.
With Tom Segura, I went through it with him, and when we went back and forth on some options, and this is where we landed.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like a sneakerhead, so he has good fashion.
He's now
no joke,
and he's now a Porsche fucking.
Porsche.
He's now, but he hit me up today. He got a Spider, a Sport Classic allocation.
He did?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I was like, buy it. Buy it.
That's why he DM'd me after that video went up, and he was like, hey, man, good video. And I was like, this is surprising, and that's now I know why,
Yeah.
Dude, the interior on that car is
it's
sweet.
fire.
Yeah, it's cool.
So, good Texas daily driver.
Yes,
right?
true.
You want a Porsche
true.
daily driver for Texas?
Yeah.
That's the fucking one.
The ducktail wing looks fucking awesome.
Excellent.
Oh, good for you, Tom.
So anyway, and look, there he's a top comment on my post there. So I'm really excited. Seeing the car in person was like very legit.
Yeah.
And seeing the engine out of it with the window stickers still on the window is boss. That is a boss move.
So this is his engine or stock engine?
No, that's my new engine.
Okay.
Yeah, my new engine. And then keep going to the right because you can see the Fab Speed headers with the high flow cats, and then the pipes on the right are the pipes that go over the axle, and they go into the stock muffler. And then the stock muffler, I've got an upgraded clutch and flywheel there.
Yeah,
for the power.
You're gonna want that.
Yeah, and then the stock muffler keeps the valve, so you get quiet mode. But in the stock car, even in like certain modes, like the computer can kind of override it. So they put in this new controller module. So open means open and closed means closed. It's like someone makes the module that overrides the computer. And apparently, I haven't heard it yet, but apparently when it's quiet, it sounds like a stock GT3. And when it's loud, it sounds like the end of the world. We
can talk about that Hyundai thing later with the track mode.
Oh yeah, we should talk about
later,
that.
But
Yeah, we should talk about that. But anyway, and then there's the Cuts Hair Fast door sill. That was a $2,000 joke.
It's a good joke.
It's a good joke if you get it.
It is a good joke.
Yeah, if you get it.
Yeah, there we go for people.
And now that is an illuminated red door sill, so that'll glow when you open the door. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you choose the font color, or was it okay?
Yeah. No, exactly. I said make it just like the Kills Bugs Fast ad, which is in typewriter font. Oh,
you can choose the font and the color of the font.
You choose the font, the color of the font, and what it says, and that is from the Sonderwünschen, the Special Wishes division.
Which is
beyond exclusive. Yeah, you have exclusive manufacturer. So that I have the exclusive stuff. I have is silver seat belts to match the brushed aluminum dash, painted badge in the body color instead of black.
Yep.
Painted roll hoops in frozen berry. Those are exclusive, and then Special Wishes is the door sill.
Special. I have not even seen the Special Wishes.
You have to be invited to get Special Wishes. Yeah.
Holy shit.
They're like, we have approved you for Special Wishes. It's really a fucking dick suck.
You are marketing Special Wishes as we speak.
I was denied certain Special Wishes. I requested a frozen berry tack, and they said no.
Whoa.
Yeah. They were like, no, that is a bridge too far, sir. That's too tasteless.
What color is your tack?
It's too tasteless for us. Red. No, black.
Okay.
The colors, yeah, I think red would have been a little too much red.
It would have been too much red.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, frozen berry. I don't know. That might have looked weird in the black with red surrounding it.
Yeah.
Maybe you need.
Maybe someone knew better than I did and was like.
I mean, whoever runs that probably has amazing fashion sense. And
probably.
colors. I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a couple calls once this build went in, like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, man.
Dude, have fun with it.
Fucking do it.
You know?
More importantly, it's going to drive.
It'll be
sick.
so good. What's the power jump from stock? Like
it goes from 414 to 568.
Yeah, so.
It's significant.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's significant. It's
sick.
Big power. And then the gears, the short gears. It'd be fucking nutty. So that'll be fun. So anyway, it's Z06 day, so we should probably talk about that. Road and Track Performance Car of the Year test. The Z06, we had 10 great cars there, excuse me. But the Z06 obviously was the headline. Travis wrote the first drive story, which is up right now on roadandtrack.com, so you can go read his version. We'll have to wait till there's a press car in LA to do a video, but I'm sure we will get one sooner rather than later, I hope.
Yeah.
Look, man, it took 6 years for General Motors to reverse engineer a 458 Speciale and bring it to market. That's your top line. I mean, that engine is fundamentally a Ferrari engine. That's what they built. It feels like a Ferrari engine. And even the GM guy who was on site was like, yeah, can you believe that Ferrari built something like that? And then we're like, you know what? Let's stop making this. And he was like laughing, and he was like, how do you not realize what they had and go, well, we could start there? And
wow.
So they knew.
And GM was quoted, like they admitted on the record that they had a 458 and I think a GT3 or GT3 RS. Like, these were their benchmarks in terms of precision, feel, sound, soul, all those things.
Yeah, and GM is a very funny company because you drive certain cars and you're like, did anybody give a fuck about this? And you drive other cars and you go, oh, well,
everybody gave a fuck about this.
Everybody gave a fuck about this. Yeah. And so the Z06 is one of those cars. I mean, the power is exceptional. But the sound, I mean, it's really fucking fast. Somebody clocked I don't know, it was Motor Trend or someone who ran instrumented testing, ran a 2.6 to 60 and a 10.5 or something in the quarter at like 130. It's really fucking fast.
NA engine making most of the power and torque way up high.
Yeah, but it's a big enough displacement that it has plenty of power Not necessarily the low end, but at the it's got a good mid-range punch. One of the things I really like about it, and the GT4 RS was one of the other cars that we had at PCOTY, which is also an amazing car. I have more seat time in GT4 RS than maybe anybody outside of Porsche, but the GT4S, as I said in my reviews, it gives up refinement and power at the very bottom to have all of it at the very top. With a 5.5 liters of displacement, 670 horsepower, the Z06 has a very wide area of usefulness. You don't have to zing the shit out of it to enjoy the sounds and the feel of a flat plane engine. It's matched really well with the dual clutch gearbox. The C8 chassis was already amazing. I will say that in narrowing the focus to being fast on a track, it does not have the C8 Z51's beautiful ride. The ride is fine. It's firm. It's not, and the car they gave us, this blue car, it had the carbon fiber wheels. This is a $165,000 car. It had everything you could put on the car: the aero, the carbon wheels, the ceramic brakes, the fucking Cup 2R tires, and it has an adjustable alignment. And because we were running lap times, they aligned it for the track. So on bumpy roads, it was a little darty, a little more than I would like. But I'd like to try one on regular tire on the PS4S.
Was it more dirty than the GT4 RS? I know you're in a different state.
Yeah, kind of the same. It wasn't as harsh.
Okay.
GT4 RS is stiffer and harsher. The Z06, if you put it in comfort mode, it did ride a little better. The GT4 RS has these really unpleasant intake resonances below like 2,500 RPM. So if you don't use PDK Sport to keep the revs between, above 25 or 3, it's not very pleasant. Whereas the Z06 is pleasant even at low RPMs. I'd probably rather daily drive this. The Z06 is totally daily drivable, 100%, even in a place with not great roads. But the alignment, the Cup 2Rs, it was a little dartier than I would want. But apparently you can tune a bunch of that out.
Did you guys change the alignment between the track days and the road days? Got it.
They did not have the some of the cars at PCOTY came with two different sets of tires. Like, for instance, a couple of the cars had an optional Cup tire and then a PS4S, and they sent both tires. And we only did that. And then we would use the track tire on the track and the street tire. And the editors of the magazine made the decision that because both of those tires were available, that was fair game. The Corvette did come with 2 sets of tires, but they were both Cup 2Rs. The car is available with a regular tire also. Once you get used to looking at the Z06, the base C8 looks sad as fuck. One pulled up next to us while we were stopped.
Really?
Yeah, stopped for shooting. You know who it was? That dude, Bill Griffin. Remember Bill Griffin, the BMW guy? Had the spec E46 race car?
Yeah.
He leads a tour group of like people who pay, I don't know, $1,000 a day or something to drive a variety of sports cars, like the old Gotham Dream Car tours. So he led a group of sports cars right to us. And one of the cars in the group was a regular C8.
Oh, wow.
And it looked so weak and sad compared to the wide body work. And
well, it's 3.5 inches wider than the regular one. And
you don't notice it. And you don't, just seeing the Z06 in isolation, you don't notice the extra width until a regular one pulls up. And then you go, oh.
Well, I remember when we were at SEMA, we saw, I think it was a Z06 prototype, and just looking at it from head on, you saw the fender stretched out, and the car looked so much better. It was not next to a C8, a regular one, but when I look at the regular C8, I've always thought it looked awkward.
Yeah.
And the Z06, I was like, this looks more correct.
It does.
So maybe they started with this and then worked backwards.
It looks a lot better.
Yeah.
And you know, the car ran great. I mean, there were no I can't talk about the lap times. I'm not going to scoop our magazine. I can't talk about what won the overall competition. And the competition was stiff, and there were debates for the top spot that was not necessarily what you expect. I mean, there were people that advocated for some cars that were not necessarily the fastest cars to win. And the track portion is weighed a certain way against the road driving impressions and blah, blah, blah. But the engine is the rock star of the car, but the turn-in, not just the turn-in, but the amount of grip was bananas.
Well, the wheels are huge.
The wheels are
rear
huge.
wheels are 13 inches wide.
But the front wheels are not all that wide. I think they're 265.
275.
Okay, which is pretty wide for a mid-engine car. That's pretty wide.
Yes.
But the amount of there's a corner at Monticello where it's downhill and off camber, third gear onto the back straight. And there's there's 4 or 5 different ways to take the corner, and none of them are good. It's all bad. Every way to take this corner sucks. But this car, more than any of the other cars we had, you could shove it down to a late apex from anywhere else on the entry, and it just had it. It just always had it, and you could just keep turning the wheel harder, and it would keep fucking turning in. Like it was so hard to make it understeer.
Well, for context, the 765 LT, the base one, comes with 245 fronts. So this is a big tire.
Yeah. Was a heavier car also than the 765 LT, but point taken. It is a big tire.
But I mean, they built it. It's a race car.
And consequently, the steering is heavy. I mean, it's actually, the steering is heavy, especially compared to like GT4 RS. The GT4 RS didn't have as much of that, oh my God, it's still going. You know, you could make it push a bit. It also didn't have a super track alignment like this car did. But it... this car, the controls were very weighty, especially on the track with these sticky tires and with that alignment.
In track mode, do they weight the steering up?
Yeah,
artificially?
They do, yeah. And I fucking hate the square steering wheel. Not only do I have trouble going hand over hand in the hairpin, but also like the way the spokes are force my hands to like not be to be lower than the bottom half of the wheel.
Right.
I don't like that at all, and I think it's a mistake. But you know, aside from that, and also because it's a General Motors product, some of the body panels just fit together like shit. I mean, there's some of the panel gaps are just, and this was a production car. This is not a hand-built prototype. I asked twice. This is a sellable unit.
I mean, the discount comes from somewhere. It legitimately does.
I have no, and if you park it next to the GT4, or the Lambo Technica, which was on site, or the BMW M4 CSL, which was on site. You know, the panel gaps were inconsistent, and the materials are pretty good. You know, they're as good as General Motors has ever made them, but you know, some of the build is a little inconsistent. I mean, you could see differences, especially the rear hatch over the engine, like just inconsistencies from and where the rear bumper met up with the rear quarter panel, like. And
that's been the case on I think the white C8, the customer car you tested, and the interior I feel like on these cars has taken a big leap forward compared to its predecessors and the generations. Yeah, and like. Things are stitched well, assembled well, the buttons fit right, et cetera, but like it's just those exterior panels.
It's just not great.
Yeah, it's not great.
But look, that's not going to bother everybody. It's not the worst I've seen, but for a $160,000 car, you know, if you're used to Porsches, you're going to notice this shit. Porsche doesn't fuck that stuff up. But the value, I mean, it's batshit fast for the money.
Sounds
like a Ferrari. You know, the 458 Speciale was amazing, but it was also a little ragged and hairy. Like it was loose. You know, you could get the back out. You could it would move. This doesn't move. This is sucked to the ground. The brakes are incredible. The ceramic brakes are so great. You know, as far as a powertrain and performance and handling, no notes. Fucking done.
Wow.
Print it is as perfect as a sports car gets. But it was a little darty on the street. It was a little, you know, if you live somewhere with bumpy roads, the regular C8 is like the best car on the market.
Yeah.
If you're driving on bumpy roads, it does not get better than a C8 Z51.
Well, they need to make a Z06 Touring that has mag ride.
This has mag ride.
Oh.
I think. Does it not?
I assumed it didn't if the ride was too stiff.
They're adjustable shocks, but even in comfort mode, it's still pretty firm. It's not like, it's not terrible.
Because some of that comes from, I think, bushings and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it has a lot of, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
MagneRide, yeah. It does have MagneRide. And on the track, it rode great. It was just on the very bumpy stuff where I was like, ooh, this is a little rough.
But look, I mean, that's the cost of having a more focused
It's a focused
vehicle.
car, and it's not as rough as the GT4 RS.
Because that was bumpy.
That was bumpy. Yeah, really bumpy.
Yeah. Is this more like a 765 LT?
Not even that bumpy.
Okay. Because that was
It's
not
more like
too
a
bad.
regular GT3
Wow.
in terms of the ride, or a Ferrari 488 without hitting that bumpy road mode.
Okay.
So it's like stiff, you know, but not horrible. You know, most people will find it just fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
Their chassis engineers are just some of the best.
Yeah.
They are straight up some of the best.
And you still take the roof off. Roof still fits in the trunk. You know, they're making it convertible with the power roof.
Rad.
Still got a big frunk. You know, it's a reasonably practical car. You don't have to give up a whole lot of practicality for the performance.
That's amazing.
It's money.
And you get to experience, like you said, the sound and the powertrain. You enjoy it at lower RPM than the GT4 RS, which just makes it a more enjoyable thing to own and operate all the time. You don't have to zing it all the way to the top to have that little fun and that fizz. I mean, the GT4 RS feels very special all the time, but just the specialness of the engine, you don't have to crank the volume to 10.
It's obvious where they you know, everything's a trade-off. Yeah. It's obvious that they traded off some of the bottom to have the most magical top end in cars.
Right.
You know, but the Corvette doesn't really give anything up at either end to have the other end be great.
Wow. What's it redline at? I haven't
87 something. It's I mean way up there. 86. Yeah, 86. It's got a ton of revs. And I mean, you know, there were places where I was downshifting at 6.
Yeah.
You know, it's awesome. The gearbox is fucking great, and there's not a lot of things to not like. I mean, other than what I just went over. Everything else about that car is fucking ace.
Do you regret ordering your speeder?
No. The things I wanted in a car, I now have. I wanted stick shift. You know, I like, if I had fucking money. I mean, I know I have money, but if I had like all the money, I'd get one of these for sure. If you have one on order and it's going to take 2 years, just fucking wait. Don't get off the list. It's going to be great. Everyone who orders one, everyone who's going to get one will be very, very happy with the fact that they have actually built a Ferrari.
That's cool.
Not even like a bullshit Ferrari. Like, they built an actual Ferrari.
It's the Kirkland Ferrari.
Oh, do they have the lap time?
Oh, I guess they do.
I don't. Well, here on are we showing this screen?
Yes.
On the back straight, which is a very short straight on the North Loop, he saw 142 miles an hour in the time testing, which is really, really fucking fast. It took the bumpy chicane there super well.
I've been over that chicane in sports cars, and we were not going 50.
Yeah. He's going really quick over the crest here. A little brush of the brakes, scrubs 10 miles an hour. Otherwise, you end up in the grass on the right side there. And here's the hairpin to the right, which is the tightest section of the track, slowest. And really, really fast acceleration out of there. It's and look how, see this turn to the left here over, that left is a double apex over crest, negative G. And we'll show it from the start line here. And right here is where almost every car either understeers or oversteers coming out of it. And look, this car just all the grip in the world right there.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have to use all the runoff there.
Yeah, he's able to turn in more mid-corner.
Yeah. It's really amazing how well this thing handles. The engine is going to get the headlines, but for people who are actually going to go to the track with it, the front end grip is going to be what really keeps you. And with that, the 670 horsepower, the fact that it's naturally aspirated, you can get on the throttle early, and it doesn't have this big torque shove that would cause you to fucking loop it on throttle. You can use that with the PTM, the performance traction thing. You can work your way up to full off. And if you go to like race 1, race 2 is really off. Race 1 will allow you to go full throttle and give you like 5 degrees of slip.
Nice.
And then rein you in pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah. It's fucking fast. Really, really fast and really fun to drive. They've done such a great job with it. It's really the GM performance guys are fucking nuts.
They're geniuses.
And apparently to work on the Z06, you had to put up a lap time at the Nürburgring that was within 10% of the fastest guy.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a hiring process.
Yeah, so you're not allowed to work on that car unless you can drive really fast.
You know what you're talking about. Yeah. That's it. No one told me when I was in college that the engineers can also be race car drivers.
They all are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all are. The fucking guy they sent with the car, who is like the EDIF guy, had never been to this track before and did 4 laps and was within a second and a half of Travis.
He's like, oh, this is a nice place. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was fast.
And there's a lot of weird little, I mean, every track has its,
well, if you show up at a track
nuances.
you've never fucking been to and you're within that amount of time of a magazine's fastest guy and he's got 1,000 laps there, it's
right,
pretty good.
I'm saying that some tracks are easy to read because they're very flat, especially if there's no, then it's just about corner geometry. But Monticello has
it's got a little
some roller
nuance.
coaster stuff. Yeah, a lot of nuance you got to figure out.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I loved the Z06. I thought it was epic, and when you drive it and we make a video with it, it's amazing. The sound it makes and the way
cool.
it's like a Ferrari. It's awesome. There's a bunch of other cars that were there. Some were very surprising in how great they were. Some were a little not disappointing. Well, to me, the M4 CSL was really disappointing.
We have not driven that here.
No.
So we drove the M3 Comp. The
CSL is rear-wheel drive only. It has the single-piece bucket seats. It's got 240 pounds taken out of it. No back seat. As I said, rear-wheel drive only. Carbon everything.
Right.
And all the aggression is just really turned up. It's got lightweight wheels and aggressive alignment and Cup 2R tires and lightweight glass and fucking carbon roof and all carbon trunk, carbon hood, like. But it was so hard to drive fast.
Oh, interesting.
It moved all over. You really had to wrestle it through corners. It was light for an M4, but heavy for a track car.
Right.
And it had so much power. It's 540 horsepower. So much power, and the gear changes were really aggressive. They kicked, and it was just.
Did it upset the chassis when it
kinda?
shifted?
Yeah, it was tough to drive. And on the street, it just banged you around.
It weighs 3640.
Yeah, which is 240 pounds less than the competition. So, but you know, you could tell that the motorsport guys got their hands on it, but the resulting product was not something I found to be particularly enjoyable. And other people agreed with me for the most part, I think. And then we had the GR Corolla, which I've been really excited to drive. It was the Morizo edition, and the Morizo edition has no back seat, no rear wiper, no functional rear windows. The rear windows are closed. There's no rear window regulators.
They're just a wall.
There's no rear speakers. It also has lightweight wheels, retuned suspension, Cup 2 tires, and more torque from the engine with shorter gear ratios. So it's got a bunch of shit. And like the regular GR Corolla is like 30-something thousand. This thing is $52,000.
Whoa.
A big fucking jump. This thing was aggro. On the track with everything turned off, and you can fuck with the diff. You can go front, front bias, 50-50 or rear bias. I actually thought the 50-50 was the most fun. The rear bias, it made it feel like it was trying a little too hard. On the track, if you don't give a shit about the tires, you can just, the steering is really sharp and it's fast. Like it pulls fucking hard. That 3-cylinder rules. So just enter the corner hot, stand it on the fucking nose, flick it, and just smash the throttle, and you can just 4-wheel slide through all the corners, and it's great. But on the street, it was, you'll melt the tires in 3 laps doing that, by the way.
That's fine.
It's Cup 2 tires, but like, you can do it. Press car. On the street, it was, I found it to be bouncy. I thought it was like the Focus RS where it kind of beats you. I was looking so forward to driving to the street. I thought it was going to be amazing. I liked so much about it, but it bounced me a lot and kind of really beat me up.
Is that a attribute of the Morizo edition specifically?
I don't know because I've never
had anybody else there driven.
No one there had driven the regular one, so we don't actually know. I'm guessing it's partially that, and also like, who the fuck wants a $50,000 hatchback with no back seat? Like, there's going to be 200 collectors out there. They're making 200 of those. They'll sell them. Yep. But like, I kind of wish they sent us the regular one. And also, I kind of wish they would sell a version of the regular one with the short gears and the light wheels. You know, short gears, light wheels, more torque, but like all 4 working windows and a rear white. Ironically, I drove it in the rain. The back window got all covered in fucking shit. And I couldn't clean it because there's no rear wiper. I'm like, this is so fucking dumb. No rear, I get a grams count, but not that much.
Right.
It also had it's not like it had a lithium battery. It had a regular AGM.
That's funny because that can save you 50 pounds.
Yeah, put the fucking window switches back and put a lithium battery in the
I wonder why OEMs don't use those more often. I'm sure there's a reason.
They probably can't like Toyota's durability cycle has got to be, they're not going out to some new battery supplier. They can't guarantee a 10-year warranty or whatever it is they're doing.
Probably.
So like it was awesome in terms of like, oh, Toyota is not fucking around.
That's cool.
Like the shifter feel was ace, the pedal feel was ace, the steering was super sharp, the seats really hold you in. You can flick it and huck it, and they built a fucking awesome rally car. Like this is not some bullshit product. Like they're for real. This is what GR is. Like, all right, cool. But the Morizo edition to me, like, oh yeah, so it does say the Morizo edition monotube shocks. So it does have unique shocks. So I'd like to see
different chassis. So maybe it might have like stiffer bushings and things like that.
I'd like to see what the regular one is, but I think I'm guessing that the regular one with the Morizo gearing and the lightweight wheels with less sticky tires. Like I don't want like Cup 2s, I get it if you want to set a lap time, but like I don't want a car that's fun to slide on our compound
tires.
What
ruined the BRZ and the FRS, etc. Yeah.
I want to put this thing on Federals and fucking slide it around a bunch. But it's a car that definitely proved to me that they are not fucking around at all. And I don't want to talk too much about the other cars that were there. I don't want to linger on it too much. The Z06 was obviously the big story, and I was very excited to have street and track time in the Corolla. I do want to get one, a regular one for us to try here, non-Morizo.
I mean, I'm really excited about it because it's the next evolution of things like the Focus RS and the STI and all that stuff, and it comes from a different company, which is fun and exciting, possibly more, reliable, but I mean, the things I've seen about this car are it's really fun. It does a lot of things really well. Yeah. And it fits in that whole world of Golf R and whatnot really well.
You got to zing it. Below 4,000 RPM, it's got nothing. I mean, really, that 3-cylinder is DOA below $4,000. So you got to zing the shit out of it all the time. But If you do,
Yeah.
it goes like a motherfucker, and it's fun to shift. It's fun to rev. The brakes are really good. The brakes held up great to track work, and the turn in is really sharp. It's got a lot of grip, at least if you don't try to melt the tires. But it moves around really nice when you make it do stuff. It's very fun to initiate a slide on the entry and then just smash the throttle.
It's a fucking rally car. Like, that's what it's for.
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
That's rad.
Yeah. Should we talk about the Hyundai thing? The Elantra N?
We can. I mean, the story's
we
not
had
complete.
an Elantra N.
Yes.
At PCOTY.
Let me see if I can find the Reddit
and
post.
That is, I do have to say, the Elantra N is the very best car that nobody cares about.
Yeah, it's great.
I mean, it put up a very respectable lap time. The inputs were great. It was really durable from the track work.
It's comfortable inside.
Perfectly happy to do everything.
Ride's
the body
nice.
control on the track, you could initiate oversteer really easily on the track. So many different modes. You can make it chill. You can make it aggressive. The performance for the money is exceptional.
Yeah, and
really
the usability.
Yeah,
like it is a very spacious sedan that I drove it. I don't know, 500 miles around LA, and like it's not too stiff over bumps and things for how sporty and fun it is. It is absolutely a daily drivable car, even if you live in a place with bad roads.
And the inputs are great. The multimedia is great. It's
all quick.
It's a really nice car. You got to get it in the right color. That blue doesn't help it. Black, gray.
I'd go black because I think the front is not good looking.
It's not.
Looks are subjective, whatever. But as a car to drive, it's very good. But so the story came out last week, I think, and a
factory burble too.
Young guy was driving his Elantra N around whatever town, I think California, in track mode. Got pulled over. Cop asks him because the kid had like video running in his car. He was like recording, whatever this encounter, and this cop says like, "What year is this car?" And he says 2022, and he says, "Oh, well, is it running okay? Like I pulled you over because of the noise." And the cop goes, does it have like a track mode thing? And the guy's like, yeah, it's in track mode. And he went, oh, okay. He proceeds to write the young man a ticket for using an illegal mode on the street, and says you're gonna have to take this car to the ref. You have to spend all this money on the ref fees, ref inspection, and then you're gonna have to have the dealership remove track mode from this car. And this young person's like, doesn't know anything about this. And the police officer says, did they tell you at the dealership that you're not allowed to use track mode on the street? And he says no. And he's like, well, they should have told you that. And the guy, the police officer was, I guess, knew his stuff, but seemed very happy to write this ticket. There was no leeway given to this young person. And it seems like that's what's going to have to happen. Like it's a very long process. And I think I don't know what's going to happen with this case, or if the guy's going to fight it, because it's all developing right now. But, a lot of cars these days come with track mode, sport mode, all these things. And this is the first story I've ever heard about someone driving their car around in track mode, factory burble tune, as you said, but getting in trouble.
I've heard a couple stories here and there of people who have been pulled over for loud exhaust, and the exhaust was stuck.
Yeah, Blake Wrong in the F-Type SVR.
Yeah.
When that came out, it was super loud, and he got pulled over. But I've never heard of anybody getting in trouble for, usually they might say, is your exhaust aftermarket? And you're like, no, it's totally stock. And then they go, oh, they can't write you a ticket for that. But this opens a whole new can of worms.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how this person can be responsible. There's no disclaimer in the car. Like, for instance, I just had a Hyundai Elantra with PCOTY, and you can put it in track mode on the street, and nothing comes up on the screen saying you may not use this mode on the street. And what is the regulation, that it's too loud? Is there a decibel reading that this officer took and determined? Like, what is the criteria for this officer to determine that this car is too loud?
Right. I don't know if he did
I heard
reading.
it and it was loud, or did you have I think any decent lawyer could fight this and win.
He's gonna have to hire one because I think it seemed like from the officer's side of things, and people, you can find this video on YouTube. I mean, the story, just type in Elantra and ticket, track mode, and you'll find it. It seemed like the exhaust sound drew the attention, and then he was able to write some weird obscure ticket for track mode. And I found a post in Reddit which looked up like the carb law and the wording of it, and what it said is that if the mode remains on after you turn the car on and off, like cycle the car on and off, it has to pass all noise and emission regulations. So like if you turn the car, put it in sport mode and drive around, turn off, turn it back on again,
it has to go back into eco mode.
That's why they go into eco mode.
Does Hyundai's car stay in track mode if you turn it back on? I can't imagine it does.
I don't think it does, but I think what that law is saying is if you are using a mode that does not, when you turn the car off and on, does not go back to stock or eco mode, that mode may not be allowed or approved for street use.
Right.
Which is
But this
dangerous.
car, Hyundai wouldn't sell a car that doesn't comply with that.
No, I know, but I think because he's using track mode on the street and track mode may not comply with those rules, then that's why this guy got this ticket.
Yeah,
I reached out to Hyundai and they said no comment at this time. They're gonna because this is the first thing that's happened, with this situation.
Yeah, I mean, you can't write someone a fucking ticket for a stock car. It's not the responsibility of the end user to not use a mode that the car comes with on the street.
Yeah, you'd think it would need to then be locked out.
Yeah,
like the GPS thing that Nissan used to use. Like, if you're not allowed to use it on the street to this degree, then it should be GPS locked out until you're at a track. Or pop up a very bright warning when you turn it on. That's like, hey, this really isn't for this.
Yeah,
because we've driven trucks that when you put it in like Baja mode or something, it'll say, hey, this is like I think the Bronco Raptor, the exhaust there, when you put it in that mode, it's like this is for off-road use only.
Yeah, so just kind of hilarious. It's not even that loud.
Oh, it's definitely not that loud.
Yeah,
it's not as loud as the burble tune thing. But I don't know if the Elantra doesn't say anything like that, then it's going to need a Wi-Fi update to make it do that. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying that the car isn't loud. If you put that fucking factory burble tune on, it's pretty loud. Like, it's noticeably loud. It's the kind of loud that does sound like the aftermarket tunes that people do. But the end user is not responsible for the volume of that car.
Yeah. I'm just reading through this analysis to see if there's anything we missed. Okay, so the Hyundai owner, they explained in their post that the car showed a peak decibel reading of 102 with an average of 98 decibels during state testing. The legal limit is 95. So maybe the cop did a test that was not in the video, or just drew his attention.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is going to, I don't know, this could be a very interesting case and an interesting example.
What state is this?
California.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. You got to be a real dickbag cop to write this ticket.
I think you do.
I mean, you got to be a super fucking dickbag.
Yeah.
Like,
and I can understand
all bureaucratic systems live and die by that one person. It's like, is that person in a good mood? Is that person in a bad mood?
Right.
Is that person an understanding person? Is that person a vindictive person? Every bureaucratic system. And no matter what is written in the law, like, that cop wanted to do this for sure.
Yeah, and it could be, there's so many factors. Like, that job is hard. Like, imagine, we have a stressful day and have to sit down to a podcast. Sometimes it's challenging. So imagine if you came from a fucking home invasion or murder or something, and now you have to do traffic patrol. I'm not saying that happened. I'm just saying the emotional swings of being a police officer must be insane for your adrenal system. But I can understand if the community was getting a lot of complaints about burble tune assholes, and they drive around my neighborhood all the time, and they're modified BMWs, and they're modified whatever, and it just pops and bangs like M80s, and it sounds terrible to all of you listening to Have a Tune. Your car sounds bad.
I understand.
I don't know if that's what's going on, but they just cracked down on someone who's driving the most bone stock car in the world.
Yeah.
And that's what really sucks.
If they tell you that their car is stock, you now have an obligation as a human. If they prove their car is stock, okay, my car is stock. I don't believe you because it's really loud.
Yeah, pop the hood.
You have
whatever.
to prove it.
Sure.
Fine. Now you've proven it's stock. Now, if the cop now has an obligation morally to go after the business directly that is selling this thing and not to fuck up this dude's life. I mean, this cop tried to basically what they've done is they fucked up one person's life.
Yes.
Not changed the system, not acknowledged the root cause of what he perceives to be the problem. You know what I mean? It's like fucked up one guy's life and revoked a registration of a brand new car that this guy definitely has a loan on.
Yeah.
No one's buying an Elantra and in cash. Guy's got a loan on this car now. He can't register it.
He can't drive it.
Yeah.
And then the police officer states, he's like, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to write this ticket. You can't drive the car until you ref it, until it goes back to the dealership to get this mode deleted. Like he listed off the order of operations for this situation and how expensive they were, which is not the great
Why did he know that?
I mean, I'm sure they've had a briefing of like, I'm assuming.
You think Hyundai has a procedure to delete track mode off one car?
No,
I don't.
I think there's probably been a meeting in police departments about modified cars.
Yeah.
And how to crack down on those and the procedure of refs and stuff. And because the guy said my car's brand new, it's from a dealership, they were like, he probably went, instead of going to the tuner shop, you're gonna have to go to the tuner shop to remove this mode. They're like, well, go to the dealership to remove this mode because it's illegal. So that is going to be the discussion that will happen.
Yeah.
Either in email or in a court or something.
That's some fucking shallow-minded trash. To find a systematic problem and then focus your response on one. That guy's a victim. That guy's not a criminal. The guy who bought this car and just thought he could make this sound by pressing a button.
Yeah.
That person's a victim.
If there's nothing, it's gonna. I mean. If there's nothing in the manual that says you can literally only use this on a racetrack because it does not comply with CARB, unless the manual says that, then this person was operating their vehicle in a manner that they thought was totally fine and should expect to be totally fine. So that, I don't know. I've not read the Hyundai Veloster
You can't address systematic problems by blaming individuals. Just that's not how shit is done.
Yeah.
But
so I don't know. We'll follow. We'll get back to the story when either Hyundai responds to me or there's more developments.
Yeah, Zach got a no comment from Hyundai.
I was not expecting that. I was like, hey man, what's up with this? And they were like, we're gonna talk to the team and get no comment this time. I was like, oh, this is not an expected problem. I think.
Yeah.
So we'll
that's crazy. All right. Well, that's what's happening this week. I'm sorry I didn't get to do a show last week. On top of with PCOTY, on top of just driving for 12 hours a day and going from place to place and packing and unpacking and all the things and logistics, I got sick. I didn't have like COVID, but I had a horrible fucking cold that made me feel like straight garbage for 5 straight days. And I was like, I don't know if it's like allergies or whatever, like the one day I had in between Germany and PCOTY, I was with my dad, and white people warning, we went bird shooting, and we walked through a freshly mowed...
You should really warn birds that are listening.
We walked through a freshly mowed field, so like who fucking knows what was going through the air that got kicked up, and then it was like in the 40s and kind of wet, and we're outside for like so I'm like cold and wet, and I just got sick and stayed sick, and I tested myself for COVID every single day, didn't have it, but like just felt like absolute garbage. And I tried to find time to record a fucking show with the road and track guys, but like everybody was so tired at the end of a long day of driving, and on top of that, I felt like shit, and I just didn't have it.
Yeah,
sometimes you just fucking don't have it. So that's why we only had one show last week. So sorry. Patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast. You want to ask questions for the show. You want to catch it live. You want to get it a day or two or three or a week before everybody else. You want an extra show every month, a 9th podcast. Patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast, starting at just $2 a month.
3.
Oh, 3. $2.99. Right. Sorry. What do you got?
We got a lot.
Okay.
Ba-doop boop.
Cesar, Matt, and Zach, how has your taste in music changed over the years? My music taste stopped in college, frozen in time.
Yeah, Pearl Jam.
I mean, basically. I mean, it has. Well, it hasn't changed that much. I mean, I still listen to a lot of 90s and early 2000s rock music, to be honest, and a lot of 90s and 2000s hip-hop. I've expanded a little. I listen to Alt Nation and Spectrum on Sirius, and I listen to the Bruce Springsteen channel and Pearl Jam channel and the classic rock channels, but, like, frankly, I don't think my taste in music has evolved all that much. I've picked up some newer artists here and there.
Same thing. I think I've started listening to more music my parents used to listen to, like classic rock stuff, and I try to expose myself to new things, but I'm bad at it in general. And with music, I'm like, I don't want to risk these 10 minutes, so I just go back to the well. And that's not helpful. That's why Christian show is helpful. Because he'll expose me to, like, even if the band is 30 years old, at least it's usually a band I've never heard of or don't listen to. But it's hard for me to be like, what are the young people listening to today? I'm just bad at it.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't like. I'm not like trying to be an old guy about it, but I'm not that into a lot of the new music, and I try, but I'm just not.
I think we're seeing a resurgence though in the genre of like early 2000s punk. They're basically bands are playing that music now, and young people are like, "Wow, this sounds awesome!"
Yeah, like emo.
This 20 years ago.
Emo music.
Yeah, like a little bit of screamo stuff.
Yeah. My phone rang today. It was a random Georgia number. I did not. I fully expected a solicitor or a robot or something on the other end, but I picked it up anyway, and it was Killer Mike. And I talked to him for like 20 minutes, and it was surreal as a motherfucker.
Yep, I'm pretty jealous.
And going to Atlanta in 2.5 weeks to interview him at a barbershop for Road and Track magazine.
He owns a barbershop.
Yeah.
He owns like 4 of them.
Yeah. So
is it the one in the Falcons stadium or the other one?
I don't know which one. He said he would send the address. I got connected to his assistant. But he was the nicest person ever. He was great. I cannot wait to go hang out with Killer Mike for a day in Atlanta. It's going to be fucking cool.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
That's rad.
To expect a robot and there's Killer Mike on the phone, damn.
Wow.
That was a mind fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thought I was going to go one way.
Yeah. But I like Run the Jewels. Touring with Rage Against the Machine right now.
I know.
Very excited.
They're playing in Oakland in March.
I know. Do you know how much tickets are though?
I don't care. I'm going to buy one.
They're like $500.
I know.
Should we make a work trip out of it?
Yeah.
We should make a work trip
right
out
off.
of it. Yeah.
Or I'll sell a part for my M3.
Maybe if we buy tickets, and I can say to Mike, like, we've got tickets. Maybe I can parlay that into
because I texted Musto
else.
like 3 months ago, and I was like, hey, I'm going to go to this show. Can I sleep at your house?
Yeah.
And he was like, why do you buy tickets? I'll just text Mike because him and Mike are buddies.
Yeah,
but
that's how I got connected.
So we should go one way or another.
Yeah, we should.
I mean,
I'll find a way to get tickets. Are just really expensive. Like
what?
They're like $500,
which is weird for two groups that are very much against.
No, there's a charity component. I saw that it's like a charity. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of the percentage of the monies goes to charity.
All right.
But like I don't know what the split is, but all the tickets I looked at said something charity ticket. So like yeah. Anyway,
that's sick.
That's wild. Austin Huckabee wants to know the name of the band of NATO straps. It's called Under the Cuff. And get this, NATO strap, it's a type of watch strap. It's made of like a woven like nylon, very tough. There's a patent troll right now that bought the patent on the word NATO.
What?
And is now going after any of these companies that make these type of straps.
Does he work for NATO?
No, it's just a fucking straight patent troll. Yeah.
Wow.
So all the companies that are making these are really having trouble marketing them because this is basically just an accepted casual name. Like it's like the word bracelet. It's like just everyone who's into watches knows what you mean when you say a NATO strap. That's the search term on the internet, and like all of a sudden, all these companies, which are typically very small companies, just a few people make they now can't use that word to fucking market this
NATO
shit.
should go surround that guy's house with like 3 tanks.
Fucking crazy,
Like,
right?
you asshole.
Chris Navio for $80K. What are your thoughts on a 2017 AMG GTS? Seems like a lot of car for the money. I didn't know they were that cheap.
I didn't either.
That does seem like a lot of car for the money, doesn't it?
They're cool.
They are pretty cool.
They're beautiful and
good looking.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I drove one when it was new for drive on NBC Sports, and it is a very nice car. What do I remember about it?
I mean, they're just...
It was well made and
the interior is awesome. They sound good.
Yeah.
And they had, what was it, the GTC? Was like
the GTC is a little better one.
version?
Yeah, a little better suspension, a little better body control, a little better brakes. If you can swing for a GTC, that would be better, but I don't think they're nearly that cheap. $80K is cheap. I have absolutely no idea what they're like to maintain. I don't know what they're like to work on. I don't know what the reliability is. I mean,
look, as we know from the start of the show,
Yeah.
used German car, you're going to want some coverage.
Yeah.
I do like the 2017 because I like the horizontal slot before they went with the vertical grille. I think the car got more and more aggressive looking, and I actually think it got worse looking as it went on. So 2017 is just nice.
Oh, it has the original grille.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I like that.
It's a nice car. I mean, they drive really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fun. I don't know. Overwhelmingly, I have nice things to say about that car. I think it's a very nice car, but beware with what maintenance costs potentially could be. You're talking about a 6-year-old Mercedes, definitely out of warranty. Who knows what shit could cost with that thing?
Yeah, do some research and
I don't
save
know.
some money.
Caleb, just wants to say, thank you. Your job is to drive. Oh yeah, no problem. Happy to help with your long ass commute. Question: if I'm in the LA area, can I check out WCCS? Yes, you can go to WCCS.com and fill out the contact us form on the website, and you can book a tour. We are open 7 days a week, and we're open only by appointment. Don't just randomly stop in. We'll look at you fucking weird. But if you book an appointment, we are happy to show you around. Matt Cheseldine, cars not at PCOTY that I wish made an appearance. Yes, we tried to have 3 cars that would not be there in time. Lotus Emira, Ferrari 296 GTB, and the McLaren Artura. Those 3, for one reason or another, logistics reasons, not the manufacturers said no. They said yes, but the cars weren't going to be in America in time. Those are the 3 that we didn't have, but they will be, according to the rules. If they weren't here in time for PCOTY this year, they'll be eligible for next year.
Yeah.
So we'll try to get those next year. Light bias. Wouldn't it be nice for emissions concerns and purposes of keeping the NA V12 alive? We see the return of small displacement 3-liter V12s propped up with hybrid power. I mean, that would be cool, but the problem with the V12 in general is it's fucking long.
Yeah.
There's just no way to make one that's like that small and also have it not like hang out over the front axle.
That's why the SF90 is feels like a large car.
SF90 doesn't have V12.
Oh, that's right. It's V12.
That's a V8.
Why am I
But
saying
like
that?
the 812 has a fucking huge. It's not necessarily just the displacement of that. Like that car's long as fuck, and so even if you made the pistons 30% smaller, you'd still have a really long fucking block.
Yeah, LaFerrari's V12, not the fucking SF90.
Yes. I mean, yeah, it's a good thought, but it's just V12s are just they're big. They're just really big.
I mean, it depends on if the displacement goes down. Like, so the LaFerrari's V12 is like a 6-liter, 6.2 or something like that. So if they cut that displacement in half, would the engine shrink?
What's Gordon Murray's car? The Cosworth V12? Isn't that like a 3 something? It's a little 3.9 maybe. The T50 V12.
Oh yeah, 4-liter V12.
4 liter.
Right.
So that's pretty small by modern V12
So
standards.
maybe if that's shorter, I mean, I like that idea because if you could have V12 sound and then mated with a hybrid system, it would be really fast.
Yeah.
And you can kind of have that's a way to keep them around a little bit longer.
Something tells me the packaging just wouldn't work right. It's a good thought. I like the idea of the sound of that, but
Yeah.
and certainly the T50 would give you an indicator of what a small V12 might sound like.
Yeah.
But
I could see that existing on very special cars from OEMs, but like the bread and butter, whatever, the entry-level Ferrari or entry-level Lamborghini, etc. I think they would like to do more with that space.
Yeah. Alex Hayes, supposedly the Z06 was delayed due to chassis flex with the more powerful engine. Did I notice any? Well, if there was any and it was delayed, it's fixed. I mean, I drove a production car. I didn't drive some early pre-pro thing. And so did I notice chassis flex? Like, no, not really. It felt like a pretty solid package to me. And I didn't, when I took the roof off and drove it, I drove it on the road for a little while without the roof on, and it didn't seem flimsy to me. You do the elbow test where you put your elbow on the door and then your hand on the top of the windshield to make a triangle. I did not get any flex there when you went over bumps and stuff. I thought it was pretty tight. So yeah, no problem. Scott Hamel, I'm looking for a very smooth highway cruiser for my 2,000 miles a month that is not a current gen Lexus LS. What is smooth over terrible highways under $100,000? The Audi A8 is very smooth. What else what has an amazing ride?
Cadillacs with mag ride.
Yeah. A Cadillac.
It's like CT. I haven't driven one of those in a long time.
Well, a Blackwing is going to be, for 2,000 miles a month, the Blackwing is not what you want. Maybe you want the CT5 V, non-Blackwing with mag ride.
Yeah.
That would be very good.
Fun car.
Yeah.
And it rides nice.
Yeah. It's not a Lexus. What has a great, I mean, like the Mercedes.
Oh yeah.
Like the GLC on air suspension, like not an AMG one. One of the GLCs or GLEs, a Range Rover.
The Defender
Velar.
was pretty good. The Velar, I like the Velar a lot.
Yeah, Velars are kind of underrated. They have a very nice ride. The Defender did have a very good ride. Not great fuel economy for 2,000 miles a month, but still, the Defender with air suspension did have a very nice ride. Land Cruiser, great ride. The Toyota Land Cruiser.
I haven't driven a new Jeep in a while, like Wrangler sorry, not Wrangler. I meant Grand Cherokee or like Wagoneer.
Yeah.
But that's over 100. Is that over 100?
A Wagoneer can be, but a Grand Cherokee.
If you option it right.
Grand Cherokee is definitely not. Yeah.
Things with adaptive suspension are usually really good.
Because what he's really looking for is kind of a regular car. It's not something that we focus on much.
Does a Camry ride well? I don't know. I've only experienced them from Uber, and they're pretty good. But.
Yeah, like we typically do sporty cars, and we don't really focus on like regular cruisers.
Which we have a number of questions actually, kind of about like
regular cruisers,
road trippy things. I mean, something with mag ride's amazing.
Yeah.
Unless you're getting up to like a Mercedes level of something, mag ride is really impressive. I mean, especially the new mag ride, the number of sensors, the computing speed they have now, which you get in the Blackwing, it's like it's reading the road ahead of you without like using lasers and cameras.
Yeah.
And it just sets everything up right every time.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Benjamin Ali is building a GT car to drive from Oregon to Ohio and back 2-door manual transmission, $30,000 budget. Hard look at C5 Corvettes with light mods.
Well, first of all,
C5
congrats
Corvette.
on the drug smuggling business.
Yeah. I mean, the problem with C5s is they're fucking rattle boxes. They're made of Legos. So if you're thinking about a GT car, I'd want something a little more insulated than that. Like I'd be looking at like Mercedes SLs stock, but it's not manual.
Well, and $30,000 SL is
I bought my
risky.
R129 for $17,500.
Oh, that's true.
And it ruled.
Yeah, that's a good
And
point.
it was built like a fucking tank.
You didn't like the seat, but otherwise,
I have a bad back.
Okay.
Everyone else, no one else has a problem with the seat. And if I was going to do another one, I'd buy the SL55 from the next generation, like the 04, which is 27 grand or something.
Yeah.
And then have a power retractable hardtop, better sculpted seats, and 490 horsepower.
yes, and he wants a manual, but man, I don't know how many miles are you covering? Like, if the road's really twisty, I can understand wanting a manual, but if you're just getting on a highway going from, Ohio to Oregon, like,
I mean, for
that Mercedes is pretty
$30,000,
good.
you're better off starting with a C6 than a C5.
Yeah.
C5s are not built well. They're just made badly. They rattle. They're plasticky and shitty.
C6
I
is
owned
definitely better.
one. I can tell. I can be honest about this kind of thing. I mean,
C6. What's so good about Corvettes though is visibility, miles per gallon,
Yeah.
cargo space. Like they have so many good attributes for Grand Tour driving.
Sure.
If the interiors are holding up well.
Yeah.
Yeah. The C6
I
is
would
a nice
start
step
with a
up.
nicer C6 than that, and you don't really have to do anything.
What about
make it service it?
the F type with the Manuel?
Oh,
you
I
get
mean, if
that
you
for
can find
30?
one for 30 grand, a 2017 F Type with a manual is excellent.
Yeah,
that's a
that'd be very
that's
cool.
a very, very nice car.
Yeah. Make sure you're not too far from a Jaguar dealership or repair shop. But
Yeah.
that would be pretty awesome.
They're great. Also, like Pontiac GTOs, unloved
Yeah.
but excellent cars. You don't have to do much of anything there.
Put together slightly better than a C5.
I mean, C6, you're going to have magnetic shocks.
Yeah.
At least you'll have available magnetic shocks, second gen, on one of those. And so I'd probably be looking at C6s. And then light mods, just like good tires, service it properly, make sure it's like, you don't have to do a lot. Like
No.
modifying
more power.
4GT, just get the one with mag ride and make sure it works.
Yeah.
Get good tires, get good fluids, get a good battery, and then just leave the fucking thing alone. And don't make it louder, don't
do
make it
that.
faster. But you're not going to put.
That'd be
I wouldn't
awesome.
put aftermarket shocks on it just to make it
Hell
softer.
no. The Mag Ride's so good.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be a rad. They're such good cars.
yeah, yeah. I mean, a GT project. I wouldn't do anything. Just get a great C6
I mean,
and leave it the fuck alone.
I could put stereo in it and nav and tint.
make it-
I mean, it's
make
not
it
like a
work.
great project. You just want it to work.
Yeah.
And because I guess if I think of GT project, I think of Carl Muth's crazy Jaguar with the amazing interior. But that's
Yeah.
another level.
Yeah. Let's see. Jesus, why is everyone asking about road trips
Everyone's-
today? Murray,
summer, man.
Murray M. Sorry, buddy, Murray M. Just finished a road trip with my mom to the Grand Canyon and back. We took her 2016 BMW 320i, and it was smooth at 80 miles up. She wants to upgrade. She wants another sedan of similar class. She's had a IS 250 and an A3 Quattro, leaning towards a current gen IS or new Integra. I just got the current gen IS 350 as a no requirement loaner for PCOTY. They just gave it to me to drive to the location and back. It feels old. It
Really?
feels like an old car.
I mean, it is.
I love the IS 500 because you get that V8, but the IS feels like a 10-year-old car at this point.
Does it feel older than a 2016 320? Does it feel that far back where
It's comparable, if
Okay.
not, yeah. I mean, I would look at the new A3. The new A3 and S3 and RS3 are great at just eating up miles. I really like the new A3 a lot. It's got good tech available. You get that Google Earth view, good CarPlay functionality, lots of ports.
And back to our earlier question, 2,000 miles a month.
Yeah.
That might be, S3 might be a good one for that person.
Oh, an
Or the
S3.
RS3.
An S3, you don't need the RS3. If you're doing 2,000 miles a month, an Audi S3 has adaptive suspension available, great fuel economy, really comfortable seats, quick when you want it, sporty when you want it, big trunk, lots of leg room. That's a great car.
Yeah.
Really, new S3 is a great car for 55 grand loaded. That's a fucking great car. I'd like to do one of those, and the ride is very good. Yeah, it's not quite Lexus LS, but it's really good with the optional adaptive shocks.
A good friend of mine in Colorado, he has one. I think it's a year and a half old. It's like a company lease, and he has had some screen issues. This is one person.
The screen?
Yeah, he's had some tech issues. Like car drives great, all that stuff. But I'd say if your mom's it depends on how long she's gonna own it. Just keep that in mind. But yeah, they are great when they work right and they do their job really well.
Zack drove the Integra.
The Integra is
nice.
It's a nice car. I mean, it does a very good impression inside of, entry-level Lexus. Like, the materials are good. The stereo is amazing.
Acura has good stereo.
Holy shit. And it looks more expensive inside than the price or the exterior would make you think. Like, it's a really nice car. For eating up miles, yeah.
Richard Duck is considering picking up a second car for HPDE and track, mostly looking at a Honda Fit or Miata. The problem is I live in an apartment, can't move anytime soon, and I have to park it somewhere outside my single allocated space. Car thefts are common where I live, and I don't want to track my daily. What should I do? Well, you can look into a storage unit type of space. A very basic storage unit probably costs you $500-600 a month. People do that.
Yeah.
Now, if it's not a street legal car, maybe now you also need a trailer and something like that. You could also look at a garage or storage situation at or near the track where your local track is. I mean, if you're Bay Area, if you're at Sonoma or whatever, they have garages there, and I don't know what they cost, but it's a thing.
Yeah. There's also
Thunderhill also.
Yeah, go ahead. There's also groups of people, like Mike Musto does this with some friends, where people kind of get together and rent a hangar or warehouse or whatever that is, and they just have their own private car storage thing, and that might be a way to get costs down a little bit from going to a established business. So you might be able to find someone that does track days, ask around forums, find people that have this similar issue, because you're surely not the only one.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a group that's like, yeah, we store all our crap in this garage. Like, we rent a spot for X dollars a month.
Yeah. Those are your options.
Or if you have a really good friend who has a house in a nicer area and be like, hey, can I park my car near your place?
That's going to get old fucking quick.
It will, but you never know.
Yeah.
Maybe someone owes him a favor because he has dirt on them.
Yeah. I mean, your answer, right? Maybe you got a little
compromat.
You got a trashy buddy. Oh, you meant a different kind of dirt.
Compromat, yes.
You meant compromat. Yes. I meant literal dirt.
I think I parked this at your house because otherwise I tell the people.
Yeah, that's alternatively, maybe an arrive and drive situation.
Yeah.
There's people that have arrive and drive track day cars, and that may be cheaper if you do it 2 or 3 times a year than owning your own car.
Yeah, true.
Buy a seat in somebody's fucking race car.
Yeah, you have to do that math, because if you're gonna buy a second car and then pay to store it somewhere, how much money is that going to cost you per year versus arrive and drive or just doing school days or something else? I don't know. That's a lot of that's up to you.
Chris Nolke, the DeMann 4.5 makes considerably more horsepower and torque than just an extra half liter would suggest. How do they get so much additional power? A couple ways. They use a lighter rotating assembly. Their pistons and rods are lighter and stronger than stock. They do some upgrades to the valve train to make those spin up better. They also have their shit is higher. It's a higher compression. They run a higher compression, which does make more power, and then you have to run 98 octane. That's another way.
All the time.
All the time.
Oh.
Yeah. So I have to get this stuff called boostane,
right?
Which I have to add a third of a bottle of it in every gas tank. So every tank of gas is going to cost me an extra $6, which I put that in the pay the cost to be the boss category of motoring. But that's how they do it.
So if you're, I don't know, out on a road trip somewhere and you run out of butane and you have to put 93 in it, will it work but just not make power?
It will like run, but you wouldn't want to drive it at full throttle at full RPM.
Right.
You could drive it home.
Okay.
Yeah. In an emergency, you could run it home on 93, but you don't really want to.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how they do it.
Butane.
Yeah.
Please sponsor Matt.
Oh, boy.
Russ needs a tour guide.
Russ needs a tour guide. Why am I the tour guide? Always the tour guide. Russ in Oklahoma rented a BRZ on Turo and is coming in for Luft, which is next weekend.
Yeah, next Sunday.
Best roads to hit, Angeles National Forest. If you just look up the Angeles National Forest, and the roads within it are excellent.
Yeah,
Be careful. Don't cut your double yellows. Don't fucking die. Look out for rocks in the road. Look out for cyclists. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, you're new to turns coming from Oklahoma, so welcome, but be careful.
Respect the canyons.
Yeah.
Where to stay? I mean, I don't know, bro.
This question, to anybody, don't ask that question because we don't know what your plan is all week, so we don't know what part of town you want to be in or
by
how much
the
money
beach,
you have.
boy.
Like, that is up to you.
Yeah. If you come all this way from Oklahoma, stay near the fucking beach. Just pick a beach and stay near it. Where's Luft? Long Beach?
Well, there's one beach. Well, there's one ocean.
Is Luft in Long Beach? It is, right?
Oh, I forget. I have to look at the email, but it's usually down there somewhere.
Yeah. Don't stay by the airport. People make that mistake. Stay by the beach. And best LA car things to do. I get asked this shit all the time. Go to the Peterson. Like, I don't do LA car things. You're going to Luft.
Yeah, you do. You go to the Malibu on the Sunday. Sometimes you go to the Peterson
dead.
things.
They killed it. It's
Is
over.
It really?
Yeah, it's over. The city killed it.
Wow.
The valet parking thing worked. After all that other shit they tried, they finally figured out that people just don't want to valet their fucking cars, and that totally killed it.
Wow.
Yep, it's back to just me on the porch Sundays. I ride a motorcycle up there, and they let you right in. They don't give a fuck about motorcycles. They never have. You want to go to Malibu on a Sunday, you ride a motorcycle. They don't care.
You know the end of Casino where it's like Ray Liotta's just going, after this, it all fell apart.
I'm a regular schnook.
Right, and he's leading. He's like, this person went down here. And I feel like this is the end of that. Like, after all that shit, it's always like the accountant brought us down. It's like the valet took us down. Yeah,
I mean, there's probably some, you go to Malibu on a Sunday and see cars. You drive around and you'll see people driving dope cars. That'll still happen. But
you can go to Bob's Big Boy on Friday night still.
That's
or just
still
go
a
to the
thing.
Peterson.
Yeah, Peterson for sure. But I'm not good at car things.
I mean, if you look up Southern California, like car meet, there's multiple on every Saturday and Sunday.
Good Vibes is every Friday at Newcomb's Ranch.
There's stuff in Torrance and Huntington. And then I think, yeah.
There we go. And Matt Cheseldine responded to this dude in the comments with some good stuff. Nate Lincoln wants to know about my Delica. I do still have a Delica. It's my wife's car. Wanted to get my opinion on owning a right-hand drive Japanese import as I'm considering a Prado or 80 series. Was the ownership experience as cool as the rad factor, and are there any major inconveniences with driving right-hand drive on U.S. roads? No, there's not. I mean, there's obviously the dumb drive-through thing, which you should just don't ever go to a drive-through. That's an easy one to solve. Don't eat shitty fast food if you can avoid it. And if you must, park in the lot and walk inside. It's not the end of the world.
You usually get served faster.
You get served faster. The actual biggest inconvenience of it is automated parking lots where you have to take the ticket and then pay with a credit card on the way out. And if I have to do that, sometimes I will get out of the car. Other times I have one of those grabber things to grab the ticket. It's harder on the way out when you put the ticket in. Sometimes I'll go through them in reverse, like a boss. I have done that before too. But like,
make sure your grabber is strong enough to pull your credit card out, because I had that problem in France.
The grabber was not strong enough.
It was not.
Yeah, that can be an issue.
My Lyft driver in Colorado owns a Delica, so he ran into an interesting problem where they had like an engine problem, overheating issue in Steamboat. They had to get the car towed all the way back down to Denver. They're having trouble finding someone who knows how to work on the diesel Delica engine.
Yeah.
So depending on where you live, make sure you look into that first.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't talking about a Delica, but whatever it is you want, he said was talking about a Prado or something. Right. But yes, I mean, before you buy an imported Japanese car, make sure that somebody in your area is comfortable working on them.
Yes.
I've had that issue with the Delica as well. People don't necessarily. Fortunately, it's very simple. It's just a little fucking diesel, and the automatic transmission in the 4x4 is actually the same as they use in the Montero of that period. So there are U.S. equivalent, and there are some resources for parts and stuff like that. But yeah, find that person first. Otherwise, you're gonna be fucking annoyed. But right-hand drive, no, it's not a problem. It's just, if you're in a little sports car with poor visibility, it could be a problem. In a big, tall SUV or a van, the visibility is really good in those cars from the 90s. Yeah. Big greenhouses and all that stuff. You can see just fine.
Easy to get your mail, really.
Right? Yeah. I've never had a problem with right-hand drive in the U.S., no. Nathan Little, what cars would you own if you lived in a small island nation like New Zealand? I would have a Subaru RSTI, a 2.5 RS with an STI, or even its Japanese import. I have a real STI, two-door Subaru STI. I would have a Skyline R34 GTR. I would have the best of the Japanese imported shit because that's what they drive down there.
And that's what you can get there. Like I would get, rear-wheel drive Skyline RB powered shit.
Yeah.
You know what I get? I want to get a what was it, Nissan, the Starlet? No.
Pulsar GTIR. Yeah, they're rad.
Those.
Yeah, they're very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, small
I would
cars,
have that immediately.
All-wheel drive, Japanese,
little
hot hatches
engines
and stuff like that. That's what I'd be fucking with. Hit your marks. Can you clear that link? I can't read. Looking for a new daily driver. I want the most engaging, fun-to-drive manual transmission 2+2 sedan, coupe or sedan for a max budget of $90K. I mean, the problem is with these manual cars, when people request manuals, like your choice is all of them. You're talking about like 4 cars.
Yeah, especially with 90 grand.
Yeah, if you're limited, if you're talking about manual, your choices are a Porsche 911, a CT4 Blackwing.
Or CT5, the new one.
CT5 Blackwing, but max budget of $90K, no CT5. That's 100 grand. Oh, actually, base ones might be under 100 grand. Yeah, you can get a base CT5 Blackwing or a loaded CT4 Blackwing.
CT4.
A BMW M3 non-competition.
Right. Sedan or coupe, either one.
And
Supra's 2-seater, and
I mean, or it gets way cheaper, way quicker. Then now you're talking about Mustangs and Camaros. Or Challenger. Can you even get a manual Challenger anymore? I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. I think so.
Or you're talking about muscle cars. But if you got 90 to spend, you're not going to want recommendations for $35,000 cars.
Right. And if you're willing to go to dual clutch, your options get even bigger, which is better for you and worse for us. Like, because then you can get RS3 or S3.
I mean, his short list right now is 911 Carrera, new or lightly used, and CT4 Blackwing. I mean, your only options beyond that are M3s, non-competition, or an F80 M3, a last gen M3 sedan manual. Yeah. You can get one with low miles for probably 65, 70 grand.
I've never driven one of those. I just reread
they're nice.
A review about them, and they're just supposed to be very twitchy.
They are. Yeah. Yeah, they are. But
it's engaging.
But it's engaging. Yeah. Twitch is engage.
If he says he doesn't like the Blackwing's engine on the CT4, which is a shame because that car, overall, it ticks so many of your boxes. It's so good. But I think you have to go with Porsche. You have to go with the 911. That's going to be fun. You can get all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive with snow tires. It's gonna, that's probably going to be the thing to do. Yeah, 2+2.
I would be looking at
both of those. I think drive so much better than a regular M3, M4.
The Porsches.
Porsches.
Oh yeah.
And the CT4 Blackwing.
Yeah. If you don't need a proper sedan, don't get one. Get a two-door car with a back. You know, if a 911 suits your needs, just stop looking there.
Yes. But if you drive a CT4 Blackwing and then drive the M3, you will understand why we don't like the regular M3 that much. Yeah. Because it points out all the
It's
problems.
Rubbery. Real rubbery.
Yeah, it's soft.
Not great.
Yeah.
Not great. Unless you want to fucking throw one into the mix and order up a new Civic Type R, which could be very cool, or you go to a GR Corolla, which is a lot cheaper than he's looking at, but wild card, you know, very engaging and fun and fucking rowdy.
I mean, you could get an STI like S209 edition, but I think
but imagine spending Porsche money on a fucking Subaru.
I know, because they were 60 when they were new.
They're so expensive. Yeah, once just sold on Cars and Bids for like over $100,000.
No.
If you're really looking at 911s and those objectively fit your needs, I would just get a 911. I mean, nobody buys a 911 and hates it. Nobody. Doesn't happen. So I would do that. Just my vibes.
I agree.
But yeah, if you want manual, your shit is limited. Not a lot of options left. Anonymity. What's the oat milk like? Oat milk situation in Germany exists. There is oat milk in Germany. Thank God. Man, I love those oat milk lattes. I'm about that life.
When they're made well, they are excellent.
Yeah. I told you, I got the new fucking espresso machine. It's got the frother.
Yeah. Is it working?
Yeah.
Good froth?
Yeah, it does.
Nice.
It's got adjustable froth. Fucking
depending on how much air you want in it?
Yeah, it fucking thickens that shit up.
I gotta see this thing.
I am ready. I'm ready for it. That's our show. We have Johnny Lieberman coming in tomorrow at 5 p.m.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And then we have Andrew Collins coming in on Wednesday? 3 days in a row.
Nice.
Yeah. Thursday, I have to go to Palm Springs to drive the Lamborghini Technica, even though I already drove it for Road and Track, but I didn't come back with a video for TST. So I'm going to Palm Springs for a day to drive it there and back, same day, to drive it for TST to make a video.
I'm driving a highly track modified A80 Supra with like all the bushing. Yeah, the new one with bushing, suspension, brakes, all kinds of shit. Thursday morning.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm interested.
Oh, all right. Well, that'll be good. There's a lot. Donnie finished the alignment on my car. He did all the hoses that he couldn't get to before Pebble Beach.
Oh, right.
There was back ordered hoses.
Oh man.
So he did all those, and then he realigned my car so it steers like his car. Because when I drove his car for Road and Track, I was like, why does your car have such beautiful light steering and my car has such heavy steering? And he's like, oh, I thought you would want it like that. And I was like, I want my car to steer like your car. And he goes, no problem. So my car, just alignment.
So cool.
Just adjusting the camber settings. So now my car steers like his car.
Nice.
And he texted me the other day and he goes, dude, your car is fucking fast. So whatever he said it's even faster than before. So whatever he's done with it, it's like fucking ace.
You guys should do a drag race.
And some people are like, why is your car back at Donnie's? I'm like, to do the fucking hoses he didn't finish. And so now the Ferrari's actually done. I have to figure out when I'm going to go out there and get it. It's just sitting there now. It's done. And so he can get into the Lambo and I could spend even more goddamn money.
Hey, it could be worse. You could own an E46 M3 like mine.
Hannah was like, are you serious? You're doing all that shit to the Lambo too? And I was like, yeah, but don't worry. It'll take 6 months, so I won't have to pay him for a really long time. She's like, okay. Fine.
Yeah, you can wait till the next fiscal year. So really, it's like you're not doing 2 cars in a year. It's
one at a time. One at a time. Yeah, one at a time. All right, that's our show. We'll be back tomorrow for the Patreon people, Tuesday at 5 p.m. with Johnny Lieberman. It'll be a whiskey session.
It will.
I've got some other stuff from Scotland we can taste.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I brought back some stuff. Johnny will be like, bleh. It'll be like bringing Christian to a concert. He hates everything.
Yeah. Done to 2 concerts with Christian. He left after 20 minutes.
Yeah, he doesn't like seeing live music. It's weird. Standards are very, very high.
Very high. I get it.
And then Andrew Collins will be here on Wednesday. So we got a few shows coming, and I got to get a bunch of shows in because I'm going on the Hudson Quattrocento with Road and Track from the 18th to the 23rd, and then I'm going to see Killer Mike.
Nice.
In Atlanta. So I'm gone from the 18th to the 24th. So we got to double them up while I'm fucking gone. You hear me?
Yeah.
All right.